Good morning, my neighbors.
There we go.
There we go. What, top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you. Oh, what do you know? We're out here in. I don't even know what we're going for. That was the first time I ever did the.
I find that actually incredibly offensive.
That was the first time we did the countdown thing. That was kind of cool. But welcome once again, Friday morning. Happy Friday morning. 38 degrees outside. It's getting nice,
Lovely,
and cold. It's getting awfully chilly outside, and I love it. And
Good morning, Joe.
Oh, good morning, Joe. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to We Will Not Comply live from the America First Media Campus. We're here. It's a Friday morning. It's a fun day. It's a cold day. We got a lot to talk about.
It's so cold you put the heat on in here.
Yeah, I put the heat on for just a little bit,
which I wasn't thrilled with.
And there's someone in the chat is called Jets fan. So I apparently feel bad for you on YouTube if you're a Jets fan. I don't know if you watched that game.
Is Jet fan, and he says, "Good morning, Patriots."
Yeah, that's it. Perfect. I said
he's switching teams.
But I said if you're looking at if you watched that game last night, the only reason I continued to watch it into the fourth quarter is if you listened closely to the Indianapolis Colts fans in attendance, they were chanting, "Let's go, Brandon." So I was watching that and listening for that, and it was nice to see the great state of Indiana really kind of coming together around the one common idea that Joe Biden sucks. And that was the idea that came through the stadium yesterday. We went to Belmore yesterday for a little victory rally, and everybody was there. We really loved and appreciated seeing everybody come out yesterday at the Belmore train station. That was great. We went down to Oceanside Sanitation District 7. Met that gentleman, John, a friend of ours down there, who's trying to protect free speech, which was nice. And those of you who came down with me yesterday, thank you. And I'm glad you guys got to meet him. You saw what he was all about. He's one of us. He's a patriot. He loves the good old USA, and he just wants to protect free speech in the workplace and make sure that his workers aren't being trampled on or abused. So a very good job by those who came down to Oceanside. And we got a busy, well, not so much of a busy weekend this weekend. We got the Freedom Fair, Long Island Freedom Fair on Sunday between 12 and 3 at the Dennison building. So we will be there, as well as a bunch of other groups that are going to be joining and setting up and kind of networking and getting down there just to kind of be around. So we will have that. It is 12 months now until we have to go back to the voting booths again and vote for Lee Zeldin. It is less than 12 months. Until we have to start electing school boards and getting ready for Republican primaries. It's not to sit there and say we're trying to just get everybody overwhelmed and busy and crazy again. We definitely want to take the next couple of weeks.
Definitely take November to yourselves.
Yeah, you got Thanksgiving coming up. You got the holidays coming up, Christmas coming up, end of December. You got New Year's. Obviously, everything is starting to roll into the holiday season. Everyone here did a fantastic job coming out, voting on Tuesday night. You saw what we did. You saw what we can do. You saw what it means when you get out there and you overwhelm the system and you vote. Your votes counted. They counted just as much as they've ever counted before. We were victorious here on Long Island, Nassau County, and Suffolk County. We did a great job. Yes, there's questions about New Jersey, and we want to get to the bottom of that. And they're launching investigations, and there's lawyers and all that's happening over in New Jersey. So we'll see what comes of that. We really do hope that that election integrity now can start to take the forefront. Look, there are two issues that are very big in the country. You have election integrity, okay, which is something that a lot of people care about, and I care about it. It's something. It's a bigly, it's something that obviously matters. It's something that obviously is it's a major issue, because if you can't have faith in the system that you're voting in, you may not want to vote, and that's obviously an issue that we've had in Georgia back in January. When Lynn Wood's bright idea was to tell everybody not to vote, and then we lost the Senate. So we don't do that. What we tell you to do is, even if you think there's going to be fraud, overwhelm the fraud. And actually, if you read President Trump's statements before this coming election day with Virginia and the local races that were happening across the country, he actually said the same thing. overwhelm the fraud, because he knows that if he casts doubt on the electoral system, he will lose. And that's the, anybody who you want, if you need to win, we've said this before, if you can only win elections by having more votes than the other person, then you need to tell people to vote, not to stay home.
Is it time to say it?
Was it time to say what?
You play to win the game.
Oh, it's always time to say that.
You play, you don't just play.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
If you start telling me
Herm Edwards,
you don't play to win, then retire. Get out.
Herman
Edwards.
Can't play with him.
Hugging Herm. That's
Can't
Singletary.
coach with him.
Can I coach with him? Can I win with him? Can't do it. Can't do it. So
talking about a Hall of Fame tight end.
Yeah. Is he going to be in the Hall of Fame, Vernon Davis, you think?
I don't know. 50-50.
Mm.
But yeah, guys, we got a lot of big stuff coming up. Like Sean said, Sunday, the Dennison building. Also, we're working on something fun. Well, it'll be fun for all of you. It won't be fun for me and Sean. As a little thank you for everything that you guys have done. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the show Hot Ones.
Oh, it's gonna be good
on YouTube. This guy Sean Evans. He interviews people and has them eat increasingly hotter and hotter wings until they are in physical pain. So one day this month, probably before Thanksgiving, I got to talk to a couple people about it. We're going to do Hot Ones, and we're going to stream it live from the warehouse, and we're going to have you guys, all of our friends and supporters, come down and ask us increasingly more and more personal questions while our faces are melting off. So if you haven't watched Hot Ones, throw that on, see what it looks like, and then realize we're going to do that for you guys because apparently we're just not very bright.
I have a question.
Okay.
Did you put half of the Folgers into the thing, or like 3/4 of all of it into the filter when you made this morning?
My coffee is like liquid meth.
This is what I call rocket fuel. Okay, this is how they put men on the moon in 1969.
I make strong coffee.
Yeah, you've made strong coffee, and then there's this, and this is just. I thought maybe I'll catch up on some. Oh, you know what I'm really excited about? You know how we always talk about it. I'm looking for that 25th hour of the day. We're getting one because the clocks go back on Saturday.
The clocks do go back.
The clocks are going back to where they once belonged.
And I'm sure I'll still complain about how tired I am because I am a bear, and bears hibernate around this time of year.
Mm.
They hibernate in the summer.
Yes.
So, no, in the winter.
No, they hibernate in the winter.
They hibernate in the winter.
Wait, you thought bears hibernate in the summer?
I don't go where bears are because they run faster than me, and I'm not trying to die.
And that's how you survive a bear attack. You just run faster than your slowest friend.
Well, no, you guys, which is why me and Sean get along so well.
That's it.
Because eventually, when we're being chased by a bear,
I'm out of there.
But bears can't run downhill.
Bears can run downhill.
No, they can't. They're
yes,
top
they can.
heavy.
No, they'll run downhill.
Silvio from The Sopranos said it, so it must be true.
Do you want to test that theory?
No, I don't want to test that theory. I can't run downhill because I'm top heavy. So.
Speaking of which, it's been October 16th. There was a very important football game played on Long Island between Smithtown East and Smithtown West. And we still don't know who won. So big thank you to the Smithtown News for never clarifying who won the East-West game in Smithtown.
You had won. You didn't even have to leave town.
I think 15 days to slow the spread will officially end before we find out who won that football game.
I think we're going to know the answer to who won the next rivalry between East and West before the Smithtown News publishes a correction here.
Yeah, I think so. We got to order some flamingos too.
I still don't know. We definitely got to get some flamingos.
We got to get some flamingos.
If you see any flamingos popping up around Smithtown, it's not us.
Right, exactly.
You know, not like real flamingos. Like the plastic ones you put in the lawn.
Yeah. By the way, why do flamingos only stand on one leg?
I don't know.
Because if they lifted up the other one, they'd fall over.
Yeah, maybe I'm going to make the coffee a little less strong this time. Wow, that was rough. Sean, the king of the anti-joke. The king of the anti-joke. But we got some big news to get to.
Wait, doesn't look a flamingo with the legs.
I hate you so much. We got some big news to get to.
Yes, we got big news.
We got big news. Turns out, looks like Kyle Rittenhouse is doing very well over in Kenosha.
Right.
Thank God.
Yep.
Because he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah,
he didn't do anything wrong.
Self-defense. Look, that was a great joke. I'm going to put Trisha's comment on the screen. Trisha Mahoney, thank you so much. That was a great joke. I appreciate it, Trisha.
It wasn't a great joke.
It was a great joke.
I deal with this every day of my life.
The people have spoken.
Sean has a book of anti-jokes, and they get progressively worse and worse.
Hey, Kevin, what do you call a broken pencil? Oh, damn it. Never mind. What do you call a pencil sharpener that doesn't sharpen pencils?
A broken pencil sharpener.
Yeah, broken. But yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong, and looks like he's going to be.
I also don't remember Kyle Rittenhouse was the kid who went to Kenosha to protect the streets during the riots. He was attacked. Very obviously, there's videotape of it. He was attacked and shot, I think, 2 or 3 people, killing one of them. The opening statements were yesterday. And apparently the defense has nothing. The prosecution has nothing.
Of course not, because the defendant got hit in the head with a skateboard before he fired the gun.
Yeah.
So
and it's just like a radical leftist to beat someone with a skateboard.
Right. I mean, yeah, exactly. To smash him with a skateboard.
Smash him with a skateboard, because that's his major mode of transportation.
Right, yeah.
Since the general kicked him off of his insurance policy.
Well, for a great low rate. I did that one actually once. Hey, did you guys hear about John Durham?
John Durham.
Bull Durham is coming.
And it turns out that the Dolan family sucks at more than running sports franchises.
Yes, it does.
It turns out that James Dolan's brother, Charles Dolan, in addition to ruining the Knicks and the Rangers, also is a big Clintonista.
Wow, I didn't plan to say that at the same time as you, and we did.
Well, that's because we finish each other's sentences
these days.
We need some time apart, everyone.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
I want to get away
from you.
But yeah, so John Durham. So we talked about, we've been talking about a lot lately, but for those of you who are not familiar with Spygate, and this is what I'm really looking forward to, I'm going to tell you something right now. So John Durham is putting some indictments. You're getting some indictments that are coming out, and Jack Posobiec is talking about how this means Durham is probably wrapping up his probe, meaning he's getting ready to, they're getting ready to close this thing and indict everybody else, and then start to proceed with everything through court. But John Durham has indicted Igor Danchenko, and that's a very interesting indictment for those who have been following Spygate. If you've read Dan Bongino's book Spygate, if you've listened to his
original title, if
you've listened to his podcast since 2018, he's been talking about this for a very long time. The name Igor Danchenko is not a name that is foreign to you. It is a foreigner's name, but it is not a name that is strange to you. And he, Bongino says it all the time. Remember the names, remember the dates, remember the names, remember the dates. So Igor Danchenko, one of the sources for the information for the P-tape, the dossier.
I feel like Igor Danchenko. Danchenko.
Yes.
Okay. I feel like Pierce Brosnan probably shot him in a movie in the 90s. Like, what a Bond villain name.
Yeah, that's a Bond villain name.
He's such a he's like a video game character.
Yeah, it's interesting. Tighten that right there.
I did.
There you go. So Igor Danchenko indicted in the Durham probe. And when you start talking about sources of the dossier, you have to think about one of my favorite people on this planet, and by favorite I mean least favorite. But when you start talking about the dossier, where the dossier came from, who paid for it, who funded it, who funded the opposition research, you're gonna have a lot of things that point back to two people. You got Christopher Steele, which I don't know where the hell he is, but he's the former British spy who used Russian disinformation they took that, they put it in the dossier, they used the dossier, they took it to the FBI. If you remember
he's the opposite of James Bond.
Right. But Christopher Steele, the opposite of James Bond. Yes. So the FBI now forwards this all, they forward, John McCain forwarded this to the FBI, because there was this plot against Donald Trump before he was even the president of the United States. They were trying to smear him with this whole idea about Russia, if you remember that. And one of the names you've heard a lot is Christopher Steele. Another name that you've heard a lot is Mark Elias. And Mark Elias is one of the most dangerous lawyers in the country when it comes to election integrity, when it comes to this Russia conspiracy.
God bless you.
I have the Delta variant, I think.
Good. Well, we are not 6 feet apart.
That's it. So that's fine.
Speaking of the Delta variant.
Yes. Okay, go.
I can't wait to get to this one.
Go for it.
I can't wait to get to Senator.
Oh, Senator who?
Senator Rand Paul.
Oh, yeah. I
I'm
can't
going to
wait
let
to do
Sean finish up about
Yeah, we're going to do
about the Bond villain, but
Yeah.
apparently Rand Paul has reached Rand Paul 2.0.
Rand Paul's gotten the upgrade. So we were talking Mark Elias. Mark Elias was suing in the swing states before the election in 2019. We had he was one of the lawyers that was involved in Perkins Coie, which is the law firm that was used to, just real quick, you had the Clintons, you had Perkins Coie, you had Christopher Steele. The Clintons funded or retained essentially Perkins Coie, which was the law firm that went to Christopher Steele to get the opposition research, the dossier on Donald Trump. We found out that the dossier was false. There were allegations in that dossier that Michael Cohen, President Trump's former lawyer, went to Prague. All they did was threw the name Michael Cohen into the NSA database and found out that somebody by the name of Michael Cohen went to Prague, but it was the wrong Michael Cohen. It was
Didn't they also say that they did it through the Russian embassy in Miami?
Yes, and there is a consulate. Yes, and there is
a Russian consulate in Miami.
Yep.
Which it's a building that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's not there. Then there was obviously that Alpha Bank story. They said that the top of Trump Tower in New York City was sending messages to Alpha Bank. Meanwhile, all it was doing was filtering spam coming into the building. So everything that they told you. Then there was that meeting that Donald Trump Jr. had with Veselnitskaya, who was
music executive.
Yeah, and she came in and, oh my God, they're talking about fixing the election, and they were really talking about something called the Magnitsky Act, which has to do with adoptions, and it was nothing to do with the election. And then you found out that Veselnitskaya was meeting with Perkins Coie people, and it's so deep, and we'll get into it.
They really need easier names.
Yeah.
Why does every Russian name have to be 17 letters?
So that's actually it's not their real last name. It's something else. I forgot what it's called. I took Russian in high school. And,
what?
Yeah. Здравствуйте.
Your school offered Russian in high school?
West Babylon. That's back before our district went down.
Russian.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
which will do us very well when we eventually get thrown into a gulag.
I can't wait for by the way, the gulags are going to be awesome. Okay, we're still going to live stream from the gulags.
We're going to live stream from the gulags.
We're going to be like, live, packed into the same cell. We will not comply. And the guards are like, no, you have to comply.
No, like we're currently beating you with sticks.
I'm like, no, beat me with this stick. I'm not complying. So
as long as I have this coffee, because you're not wrong. This coffee is,
I know I'm not wrong.
I mean, this coffee is jacked up.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Look at this. Look, watch the face. He's going to be like, woo! So Igor Danchenko, we're going to run through this article real quick. Danchenko is expected to make his initial court appearance in federal court in Alexandria, Virginia. By the way, which just went red in the governor's election down there. Congratulations once again to Glenn Youngkin, and also to Winsome Sears. You all know about Winsome Sears, the Jamaican immigrant woman. She had the gun, the Marine. She obviously now is the new face of white supremacy, even though she's not white, which is amazing. It's it's so funny how you can look at a person like what's her name in Pennsylvania, or his name, or its name, Rachel Levine, or the woman, the trans lady. Yeah, that person. She looks like one of the bad guys from the movie Independence Day. Yeah, she does. She looks like that crazy doctor, the one who gets the thing. Yeah, she looks like that, or he looks like that, or whatever you want to refer to this person as. Would they say that is an empowering woman? That's an empowering woman in today's society. And then Winsome Sears, a woman of color, an immigrant, a veteran, is the face of white supremacy. Right. So if you can't tell that the left has absolutely lost its mind, if you're still sitting on the fence thinking, are these loud majority people really telling the truth? Are they being honest? Are they being objective? Look, when you come out there and you tell me the monster in Pennsylvania is an empowering woman, and this veteran immigrant woman of color who just won the lieutenant governor's seat in Virginia is the face of white supremacy when she's not a white person, we have a problem. And this shouldn't be something that has to be explained more than once. So just understand that the left has gone completely crazy. And this is why we're fighting, because if we let these people continue, and this is why you're fighting at every level. You fight at the levels of libraries and fire commissioners and school boards and local county legislator seats and all these different things. You fight at those levels, because if you let them infiltrate there, it makes it a lot harder to change the big names at the top. And what we did on Tuesday is we set a great foundation. What we did on Tuesday is we set we laid the groundwork for what is going to be a historic election in 2022.
And look, guys, now that the sting of Virginia is starting to wear off on a lot of these people are starting to notice the smaller races.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to notice the fact that a guy who spent $200 on donuts in New Jersey just beat the presiding officer of the New Jersey House of Representatives. They're starting to notice that a write-in candidate beat a Democratic socialist in Buffalo. But most importantly, a lot of people, Steve Bannon, Ben Shapiro, Fox News is going, wait a minute, something happened on Long Island. What happened on Long Island?
Ben Shapiro? Bomb, Iran.
Hit the button. Yeah, everyone's starting to notice what's happening on Long Island, guys, and you did that. And we said it at Belmore yesterday. We said it in the rap show after the election. I couldn't be prouder of each and every one of you. I know everyone worked their asses off. We weren't sure what was going to happen, but now we see. Now we see that when you're willing to put in the work, you see the change. You see the change that you want to see.
Exactly.
I mean, we kicked the crap out of the Democrats.
Well, up and down the field, too. I mean, we laid waste to them. And then when you look at a guy like Dom Thorne, just as an example, and he's not the only one who worked his butt off this election cycle, because everyone really did. But when you look at a guy like Dom Thorne, and you just look at I said this weeks ago before we had him on the show, I said, his followers, his volunteers, the people he had in his district were emulating him, right? He was out there wearing out the soles of his shoes and took down a 10-year incumbent. And Rob Calarco is not somebody who was some slouch. He was in the seat for 10 years. He had his eyes on county executive in Suffolk County.
He was the presiding officer. He was. So if you imagine.
Right. Oh, yeah, this is a good point.
If you imagine the Suffolk County legislature as Congress, Rob Calarco was Nancy Pelosi. If you look at it like the Senate, Rob Calarco was Chuck Schumer. He didn't beat some middling person you've never heard of down on the bottom. He beat the person who brings the bills to the floor. And because he was beaten, now the county ledge is back in the hands of Republicans. I think the presiding officer is going to be Kevin McCaffrey, a Lindenhurst man. So who the hell knows what's going to happen from there? It's going to be savagery all around. We love Kevin. I've known him a long time. Oh, you got to say it.
I've known him for a very long time. Okay.
Known him for a very long time.
It's been a wonderful
So he didn't beat a slouch. He didn't.
No slouch.
Manny Esteban beat a powerhouse too. In what was that? 16.
Esteban Islip?
No, Esteban. That was. Gotta go to the videotape. I think Esteban won in 16. It was. Beat a powerhouse, guys, and all throughout Nassau County as well. People are starting to notice what's happening on Long Island. I mean, you did that. You guys did that, and when we roll into school boards, people are going to go, wait a minute, something's happening out here because these people don't lose.
Yeah.
What are they doing that we can emulate in swing states? Because if we can do it here in New York, why can't it be done in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan? Why can't it be done in Nevada, Arizona?
It will be. Well, you see what's going on in Arizona, where the people are starting to take action. And that's one of the Arizona.
Manny Esteban at 16.
Arizona, I believe, was one of the first states that we actually started seeing some of the school board stuff happen where people were forcing their school boards to resign and doing all that. Look, and Russell, our friend Russell, put up a post on Facebook, and he basically said, if you're a school board and you're going to keep pushing DEI and you're going to push vaccines, step down, because you're not going to,
look,
I mean, it's so true. Because
if you're going to do it quickly, because we're coming for each and every one of you.
Because now we don't have county seats to worry about. Now we don't have, so the next elections really that we have to focus on are now in May. And there's school board elections. So what I'm going to need is everybody who's watching this, right? And this is what my friend John in Oceanside said yesterday. Returning government into the hands of the everyday person. And maybe you don't think of school boards as government, right? Maybe you don't think of library trustee or fire commissioner as government, but these are still elections that have to be won. They're elections that take place and they use the democratic process. You need votes to get into these positions. Okay. This is still a representative body, the school board, the fire commissioner, the sanitation district, these library races. So when you look at it, right, and you see these people running your school districts, and you understand that the union's got money backing a lot of these candidates, and that that the ordinary candidate is just being outspent. And then you look at New Jersey. And this man Durr, the truck driver,
Durr.
he spent $153 on his campaign. That is it. That's
bought
all he spent.
He bought donuts and business cards. That was all he bought.
And he won. And so what we can do here on Long Island in May is just like we did on Tuesday night, okay, where we swept. I mean, we didn't win every race. I get it. But we won a lot. I mean, what is it?
7-1.
Right. I mean, 7-1. When you look at that, we can do it again in May. And when you see districts, when you see this map in May on that night when the school board elections are, and we find out that all of these different school districts flipped and that the bad candidates are gone and the good candidates are back and we red wave the school boards and we do it like this, that is going to be the next step in the larger game to making 2022 our run. And when you think about how it went down in Virginia, one more time, how it went down in Virginia, issue number one, this revolved around, when you say Virginia, you cannot escape what went on in Loudoun County. And this is my final point about school boards, because some of the criticism that I've taken, well, you don't have kids. What are you doing here? It's not about having kids, okay? If all you do is leave it up to just the parents, they are a segment of the population. They are not the majority of these districts. So what we do is we stand together. Just like I'm not a doctor, I'm not a frontline worker, I'm not a first responder, I'm not a police officer or a firefighter or a pilot. But when you find out that these people are being fired because they're not taking a vaccine or anything, we support them. We want to see them get back on their feet. And so for these children who can't fight for themselves, and the parents who maybe have to work a couple of extra jobs because of inflation and because of gasoline, or there's other extenuating circumstances, we are there for you. And that is why we're doing this. And when you look at Loudoun County, when you look at Virginia, and yes, what happened in Loudoun County, the rape, the sexual assault, the fact that it was covered up is disgusting. And it goes further than that. The curriculum is disgusting. And you're starting to see with Panorama Education, with districts, not just on Long Island or in Virginia, but all across the country. This is happening. There is an awakening happening. And you see that now the left has doubled down on stupid, angry over the fact that Republicans won in Virginia, Republicans won on Long Island, Republicans won in New Jersey. They are now saying, no, not that their ideas suck. Oops, sorry, folks. Sorry, America. Maybe we went a little too far. They are now doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on the fact that this wasn't just the fact that their ideas suck. This wasn't just the fact that they lost on the issues and they're on the wrong side of a lot of these issues. They're again blaming it on race. They can't get race out of their heads. They're The View, which is the View.
I mean, The View. Let's be honest. But look, like you were saying about school boards, and what people need to understand, we like Sean was saying, we get a lot of crap. We don't have kids. We will, hopefully. I know my mother's watching. I'm sure she's hoping for grandkids pretty soon. But we'll get to that later. You know, the school boards are the people who provide tenure in these schools to teachers. And anyone who knows anything about Long Island teachers knows that once you get tenure, it's basically impossible to be fired. So if radical school boards are providing tenure to radical teachers, that could be a 15, 20-year commitment right there. Like our friend Mark Jacket over in Smithtown, who basically can't be fired for being insane.
It's interesting that you said 15 to 20 years, because when you think about the KGB whistleblower, Yuri Bezmenov,
absolutely,
he's the one who tells you it's only going to take 15 to 20 years to indoctrinate one generation of kids.
And we know in middle country, there was political retribution from the school board against a particular teacher. We're not going to say the name because it can't be proven.
Right.
But you know what? It doesn't take that many lines to draw together to see that the school board wasn't happy with this one particular teacher because of one particular thing. Sure enough, they lost tenure. They lost their job. A great person, a phenomenal teacher. But this radical who just lost to Nick Caracappa. Hi, Dawn Marie. You suck too. Hurt a teacher because of political retribution. And we can stop these sorts of things happening at our school boards. And look, we're not just going to go for the easy cases this time. We're going for the biggest school boards. Sachem, Floyd, Longwood, we're coming for each and every one of you.
That's right. And, you know, again, if you're one of these people, if you're on the school board and you're pushing DEI, I am going to come out and go, I told you so. To every school board who says, no, DEI isn't CRT. We're not teaching that here. It is. We know it is. Alan Singer. We know the whole deal, and we're going to get back into that again. I have so many emails that I got to get to. Everyone's been sending me.
You guys have been fantastic.
You've been sending us so much stuff, and I haven't had a chance to look at it this week because of local elections, obviously. But now the local elections are over. Now I can start drinking coffee and staying up at night and just reading about the school district stuff again, and the trainings and the DEI and all of this. But to any school board who said DEI is not CRT or SEL is not CRT or CRS is not CRT, you know what? It's all CRT. We know it's all repackaged CRT. And if you continue to double down and defend it, like the left is doubling down and saying race is what had a role in these elections, you are going to find yourself out of a seat. And that's okay. I understand school boards aren't paid. You know what? If you're one of these people on a school board right now and you want to double down on DEI and you don't think you're going to lose your seat, listen, you're not, it's not like you're being paid there. Just step down. I'm dead serious, because you're not going to last through this next election cycle. It's not going to happen. You saw what we just did on Tuesday. You better get your acts together, school boards, and start taking a stand against the CRT and start taking a stand against this vaccine stuff, because now they're going to start vaccinating kids in school. And what we saw from the FDA, and what we saw from some of these from the WHO is that they're going to actually take your children, if they walk into a vaccination site and say nothing, their presence at the vaccination site itself, they're going to consider implied consent. So your kid can walk into a gym in your school if they're doing vaccinations, and because they walked in there, they can now get vaccinated without you knowing a damn thing about it. And that's not a conspiracy theory. This is right. Go to Instagram. Show Me Your Face New York. They posted this yesterday, and Show Me Your Face, a great group. They're going to be at the Long Island Freedom Fair as well on Sunday at the Dennison Building. But they sent it. They posted this on Instagram yesterday. This excerpt from the WHO. If your child walks into a vaccination site, if they're doing it in schools, right? It literally says in there, you know what? If you don't want your kid vaccinated, keep them home. I mean, this is insane. This is insane. He or she walks into a vaccination site, and that's implied consent. Even if you tell Mary, don't you dare get that vaccine, and Mary follows her friend into the gym, now that's implied consent. She's getting a vaccination. Are you kidding me?
Look, this isn't even a question about the efficacy of vaccine. This is the question about, look, if your kid wants an aspirin, they have to call you. But they can take a vaccine without you knowing. I remember we used to take, during wrestling season, we'd all have headaches because we were all sucking weight and we were dehydrated. They used to have to call my father to give me an ibuprofen, to give me an aspirin. But they're going to give you a vaccine without you knowing about it? Without you. And look, how young are we talking here?
5 to 11?
5 to 11. Look, high schoolers may be able to stand up for themselves, but is your 6-year-old going to be cognizant enough to say, oh no, maybe I should call my mother before my teacher forces this on me?
Right.
I mean, this is really dangerous stuff. And it's not even about vaccine efficacy or whether it's safe or whether you should take it or whether you shouldn't take it. Talk to your own doctor. Do what you think is right. As we've always said, it's just about maybe a phone call they should give you. Hey, we're going to jab your kid with something. Yeah. Like, they don't know your kid's medical history off the bat. Maybe your kid's got a heart condition. Myocarditis has been huge among kids. We've seen that from Israel.
Yeah. It's so that's what's coming down the road for forced vaccinations. Remember, 15 days to slow the spread, 30 days to slow the spread, however many days it was to slow the spread, turned into forced vaccinations. And when we said that last year, hey, mask mandates are going to roll into vaccine mandates, that was a conspiracy theory. Well, now you've got vaccine mandates everywhere. January 4th, you're supposed to see this whole 100 employees thing. Now, again, I am fully expecting this OSHA ETS, Emergency Temporary Standard, which has finally been drafted. I am fully expecting that to be challenged in court.
Well, your least favorite commentator on the internet has challenged it in court already.
Who's my least favorite commentator?
Mr. Ben Shapiro.
Oh, listen, you know what he wants to do, though? He wants to challenge it in court and then drop a bomb on Iran.
Every day of my life.
Bomb, bomb, bomb.
Every day.
Bomb,
No, the Daily Wire. Through Harmy Dillon's organization, who's done phenomenal work, is challenging this in court right now. And it's going to take a while for it to go through anyway. Yeah. So I fully see this going all the way up to the Supreme Court. And if we exclude Roberts because he sucks all of a sudden, it's still 5-4.
And the Supreme Court is also going to be taking up the case for constitutional carry in New York as well.
New York.
So that's a pretty cool thing. We'll see how they go that way.
Hi, Amy Coney Barrett. We need you.
Well, we hopefully she actually does her job now instead of selling out like she's done the last couple
honestly, I think the concealed carry goes down 5-4.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think so. I think Kavanaugh flips.
Yeah, I think Kavanaugh's going to flip. OSHA is underfunded and understaffed, so for them to be able to enforce this vaccine mandate is going to be very, very interesting.
Well, no, what they're going to do to enforce it is they're going to enforce it on particular institutions.
Right.
Like I have a feeling they probably won't go into the Brookings Institute.
No.
But they may go into the Heritage Foundation.
Yes, they're going to target
conservative groups.
Conservative groups.
They're not going to go to Harvard. They're going to go to Hillsdale.
Right. Hillsdale. Yes, that is true.
They're not going to go to Yale. They're going to go to Liberty University.
Liberty U.
That's what they're going to do.
Liberty
they're going to walk into the offices at Prager University or the Daily Wire, huge conservative organizations, and they're going to check them. They're not going to go into the people that take care of them. They're going to go into NRA headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go into. They're going to come here. Luckily, we don't have any employees. If we did, I'd be damn straight they'd be coming after us.
Yeah, you know that. I mean, they've already done that a couple of times. But again, forced
coffee is unbelievable.
Yeah, you did something to it. It's like you shoveled the coffee in today. You're supposed to use the little scoop. It was like
it in.
It was in there.
I just pour what's the point of the scoop?
I don't know. The scoop is to make sure it doesn't come out like this. But it means it's good. It's on awake. I'm wide awake.
This is really something.
I'm wide awake. So we've got this. I'm gonna attach this article again in the show notes. Angry over GOP win in Virginia. The View blames white women afraid of history. White women. Okay, you heard that? So this was the demographic, and then I'm not saying white women are who won this election. I'm just saying women, suburban mothers. That is the group that has failed and has not voted Republican or has not been a reliable vote for Republicans in the past. Now they are never going to vote Democrat again. Why? Because chances are if you call a parent racist for trying to protect their child, they're not going to come out and be on your side of any other issues. Okay. And so the unmasked mom, the moms, the anti-CRT moms, the anti-forced vaccination mothers and fathers and parents, you guys are now a brand new voter block that is starting to look on the right side of the fence rather than the left side of the fence on a lot of these different issues. You realize that the Democrats want to put their hands all over your kids. That they want to jam critical race theory down their throats. They want to stick them with the vaccine as soon as they walk into a vaccination site. Implied consent. They want to test your kids without permission. This is what's going on in districts across Long Island. Yes, I've taken calls about this. I don't want to say where it's happening because there are legal implications that are being pursued in these particular districts. But this is what's going on here. This is what's going on across the country, and parents are fed up, and the Democrats have just lost a very reliable group of voters over these issues, and they're doubling down on it. And rather than say, you know what, guys, oops, we messed up, they're just saying, oh, you know what, I guess all these people are actually racists, and that's what went on.
What's really funny is that Sonny Hostin was the one that said it, who's the dumbest member of The View, the dumbest member. Now, Sonny Hostin prides herself on being a Latina woman. Latina. You got to change your accent when you say Latina. I don't know why. But maybe Sonny Hostin should go look at the exit polling and who voted where. Because Hispanics voted for Republicans in the Virginia race plus 9 points. So you know what, Sonny Hostin, if you got a problem with anything I'm saying, not that she's watching this, but although we did get Joy Behar stuck in one of our...
we did. Montauk last year, we got Joy
Joy
Behar.
Behar used to be a teacher in Lindenhurst, and I know a lot of people that had her, said she was an awful person back then, and then she pretended to be a comedian for like 10 years, and now she got on the show. But it was suburban mothers, but it was immigrant suburban mothers that did this. You saw, there was the one woman whose name escapes me at the moment, who came out and said that this critical race theory stuff reminds her of Maoist China that she escaped from. That should tell you everything you need to know about the things that are going on in Loudoun County.
Yeah, and again, just to kind of wrap it up with the school board issue, when you look at who came out and voted, when you look at why they came out and voted, when you look at Loudoun County and how that translated into, and Terry McAuliffe coming out and saying parents don't have the right to be involved in decisions regarding their kids' education, that's enough. And that's how they all feel. That is how they all feel. These radical leftists all feel like, no, you don't get the right to choose. That's our job. And we're going to make the decisions for you. And like I said all the time, If you know anything about being outside, if you know anything about being in the woods, when you see a baby bear, a little cub, get the hell out of where you're at, because Mama Bear's around the corner. And if Mama Bear thinks you're threatening that cub, you're going to get destroyed. You're going to get mauled. And these parents are seeing their kids getting threatened by these teachers, by these districts, by these politicians that are reaching down into the schools that don't know, hands off. You want to fight. You fight in the adult arena. Leave the kids alone. Leave them out of this. There is no reason why you have to drag the kids into this fight. None whatsoever. And yet here we are. And so look, if you mess with Mama Bear and you mess with Mama Bear's kids, Mama Bear's going to get really upset and fight back. And that's what we're starting to see. And I think we've only scratched the surface on this issue.
We've only just begun.
I think we've only scratched the surface on this issue, and there's a lot more to come in this. Now,
real quick, we got to get to this before the end of the show.
Yes, because
we got to get to Mr. Dr. Rand Paul.
Yeah, Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Fauci.
So we had yesterday. If you haven't seen it, it's about 8 minutes long. It's on YouTube. It's really something funny. Rand Paul absolutely laid waste to Dr. Fauci yesterday. Dr. Fauci, you lied.
Doesn't Anthony Fauci look like those gremlin bankers from Harry Potter?
A little bit. Yeah. It almost looks like Dobby a little bit.
Dobby the house elf. He's a really ugly guy.
He's a really ugly guy. And
short too.
Yeah, Anthony Fauci was in front of Rand Paul yesterday, and Rand Paul actually said it in front of him in the hearing. He said
it's on the public record.
He said you changed the definition on your website to cover your ass. And that's exactly what happened. And then Fauci, well, Dr. Paul, you don't know what you're talking about, and these are egregious claims. They're not egregious claims. Peter Daszak, this EcoHealth Alliance guy, in an email said, it's nice to see that our gain of function pause has been lifted. He used the term gain of function in July of 2016 before President Trump won his election and took office. But this is gain of function research. And Rand Paul, essentially, what Rand Paul did, he outlined it. He said, look, you guys were doing this, and if you can't admit that this is risky, we're never going to fix it. And Fauci will not admit, even if he says we didn't do this. Look, you can come out and go, hey, my name's Anthony Fauci. We didn't do this because it's risky. He won't even say it's a risky procedure. Have you watched the movie Jurassic Park? Have you read Frankenstein? The monster is out of the barn. It's out. It's escaped. And now you can't control it. If you can't admit that playing with viruses, and Rand Paul made this point yesterday, this virus has a mortality of 1% tops, that you're looking at. They are experimenting with viruses in the Wuhan Institute of Virology with your money that have a mortality of up to 50%. Could you imagine now? That got out of the lab, then I'd be wearing masks, I'd be a bubble boy, and I'd be scared. I'm not going to sit there and be afraid of an overblown common cold. And I'm not to say that, hey, COVID's not killing people or anything like that. It is. I understand that.
But
people
look, here's what's important about it. The average age of death from COVID is 82. The average age of death in America is 80.
Right.
So you know what? Have young people died? Absolutely. But should we get rid of cars to prevent car accident deaths? That's what nobody ever wants to say about this whole thing. And if you guys are unfamiliar with what gain of function research really is, you should check out the Dark Horse podcast. Brett Weinstein and Heather Hying. They're two liberal professors, two of the smartest people on the planet when it comes. They're evolutionary biologists. They do a whole show. It was about a week ago where they go in depth on what exactly gain of function research is. And it's terrifying. You're taking something dangerous and you're making it more dangerous just to see if you can beat it at its most day. Could you imagine, you know what, a superhero is going to make a villain more dangerous just to see if he can beat them?
Right. It's like they're trying to train in the gym. It's why
am I looking at Beetlejuice?
That's I thought that was Admiral Akbar from Air. Let me
Lori Lightfoot.
What I'm going to do is
Beetlejuice.
I'll share the screen with you on this one because apparently there was more fake racism. These people they can't stop.
Juicy Smollett.
They can't stop with they can't stop with the fake racism. It's hilarious. If you guys have seen Star Wars in the chat, you would know what I'm talking about. It's a trap. Admiral Akbar, check it out. There she is. Lori Lightfoot, Admiral Akbar, Beetlejuice. Apparently there was another race hoax that's been going on, a racist text that wasn't actually racist. You could read this article. Toledo was fatally shot. Let's see what we have here. With both the parents failed those kids, which I know is something you can't say, even harder to fix. Talking about how there's crime in Lori Lightfoot City and that the parenting, there's just...
Wait. There's crime in Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago. I said New York City, didn't I?
Wow. No. You said Chicago.
Did I?
Crime in You're talking about crime?
We're talking about practice.
Talking about crime?
I ain't talking about the
Chicago?
game.
Chicago?
We're talking about practice.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So I'll attach this in the show notes, and you could read this, because this is just another example of how, all they want to do is point to race and try and make race the new issue. Look at this here. Cancel culture is being canceled. Obviously, it's gone too far. A new Rasmussen poll sponsored by the National Pulse, which is where this article came from. So maybe this isn't the most reliable thing in the world, but it found that 72% of people who responded to a telephone and online survey believe that cancel culture is out of control. Respondents also stated that free speech should be protected against censorship. Another pop-up. And this is something that happens on these websites. I complained about this the other day, and I know you said that, one of the reasons why people decide to write a 10-page diatribe on why they love their mother's favorite roast beef article is that if you scroll down a certain amount of times, it's a certain amount of page views.
Yeah, basically what they'll do is, and BuzzFeed made this famous. You ever go on those listicles about, like, you'll never guess what your favorite 80s celebrity looks like now, and then you click all 25 pictures? That's 25 different pages.
Yeah.
That's how nonsense websites like Vice News can be somehow valued at $80 billion or some absurd number. That's how they get page views. That's how you'll read an article about nothing, about something that people don't give a crap about. Something pops up on Facebook, but you got to keep clicking through it. So one person reading one article will be considered 25 page views. It's unbelievable. It was the bubble that went on about 5 or 6 years ago in the tech world. I mean, I could do a whole show about that. But all these nonsense websites like Gawker and Vice News and Pink and all these crappy websites got bought out by huge companies that saw incredible revenue opportunities because of these clickbait nonsense things. They're all out of business now. Vice News, I think, is on Showtime now, which is a channel nobody has.
Oh, Showtime. But it used to be on HBO.
It used to be on HBO, and then they tried to get their own channel.
Yeah.
And nope.
That failed.
What? I mean, come on. Who loses a TV channel today? There's like 4,000 of them.
Yeah, it's brutal. 27% of Democrats were found to be in support of protecting people from free speech, more so than protecting freedom of speech. Only 9% of Republicans felt similarly. Unaffiliated responders were 11% in support of protecting people from speech, all right, instead of protecting free speech from crazy people. And that's the biggest problem that we're having now. What's happening is you're instead of protecting free speech, you're protecting people's feelings. And look, I get it. Not everything people say is going to make everyone feel good and great. That's life. That's what free speech is about. It can't just be we only have nice speech, because who's determining what's nice and what's not nice, right? That's the biggest problem that we're having. It's so arbitrary and subjective. Something that I say may not be offensive to me, might be offensive to somebody else. You've got comedians now that can't be funny because there's a victim for every joke they tell. Every joke's got a victim. That's just the way it is, right? You look at a Dave Chappelle, who I really think is moderately funny, but I mean, I guess that's the unpopular opinion.
He's the GOAT.
Dave Chappelle could not shine George Carlin's shoes.
The GOAT.
Because Dave Chappelle steals jokes, George Carlin writes them.
No, he doesn't.
So yeah, he steals them.
No, he doesn't.
And he's a liberal. But it's okay.
They're all liberals.
Yeah, George Carlin's a liberal too, but he's more of an organic, nice guy. He's a good guy. He's a good comedian. He's actually funny. Dave Chappelle, I never got into him. He wasn't my guy.
That's because
I never got into
wrong.
him. No, I never got into George Carlin's the best of all time. And then maybe if George Carlin's not the best of all time, Eddie Murphy is on there.
First off,
he's far funnier than
1A, 1B.
There's no 1A, 1B. George Carlin is number one, hands down.
Richard Pryor.
George Carlin is number.
Now we're not even having a conversation.
No, we're not, because George Carlin's number one. This is a guy who was Mr. Conductor on Thomas the Tank Engine and one of the filthiest comedians of all time. It's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
That's really funny.
Yeah. So, again, comedians are not allowed to be able to do their job because every joke has a victim. Every joke has somebody that's the butt of the joke, right? And so that means someone's going to feel offended. And so what? It's called a joke for a reason. And you're looking at cancel culture, which is Frankenstein, which has escaped the lab. It's out of control. You even have an ultra-liberal, Bill Maher, who is now regularly coming out and taking shots at the left. And the reason, and I think you can watch this, and maybe he's grifting a little bit, and maybe he's not.
It's self-preservation.
But what's happening here, when you look at a guy like Bill Maher, who is not ideologically on the same side of things as we are, but Bill Maher is regularly now attacking the left because of their attacks on free speech, because Bill Maher's not an idiot. Bill Maher knows that if he goes down the same rabbit hole the left has gone down, if he goes down the same path that the left has gone down, he is going to go down that path and find himself out of a job, because he is offensive. He is on late night television. He does tell some sorts of on the fence jokes and things like that. He does cross lines, but guess what? Comedians are supposed to cross lines. They're supposed to go across those lines and make you laugh about how ridiculous some things in society are. And when Bill Maher now is getting all of this attention from people like us, because he's coming out in defense of our ideas. He's coming out in opposition to the left's rabid behavior with cancel culture. Maybe he's grifting a little bit. Maybe it is self-preservation, but you know what? Fine. It's okay. I'm all about that type of thing, because that means we have somebody who is not our friend, who is actually reaching across the aisle and saying, you know what? We may not agree on the economy. We may not agree on foreign policy. We may vote for a different politician for president and governor and senator and Congress and all this other stuff, but I'm on your side when it comes to free speech, because free speech, if you lose free speech, you lose your country. And think about a country without free speech. If you can't speak freely, what are you doing? You can't organize. You can't get with your friends. You can't petition your government. You can't say certain things, right? I mean, in Canada, it is illegal to say, let's go, Brandon. Are you kidding me? What about people named Brandon in Canada? I mean, what's going to happen there?
Well, that was the Babylon Bee article. Liberal parents trying to figure out how to cheer on their son, Brandon. Look, the thing with Bill Maher, look, I won't lie. I've been a fan of Bill Maher for years. I've always watched his show. I like to laugh. I think he's wrong on a lot of things. Bill Maher is about 6 months behind the times at all times. He's just starting to get into the critical race theory stuff. Well, we've been talking about this forever. We've been talking about this for at least a year now. The critical race theory stuff. Bill Maher's about 6 months behind on everything. And he's starting to realize, wow, once they take out the Bonginos and the Shapiros and the Crowders and the Chappelles, he's next. So it's all about self-preservation for him. He's starting to realize that the cancel culture has no limiting principle. If you're in their way, they will roll you over. Look at a guy like Kevin Hart. Love Kevin Hart. I think he's one of the funniest people working right now. Love his movies, love his acts. He does a thing about an ostrich. If you haven't watched Kevin Hart the Ostrich, watch that. It's one of the funnier bits of all time. But Kevin Hart came out and said, I'm not apologizing for what I said 10 years ago.
Andy Whitman's offended.
Andy Whitman's offended?
Yeah.
Andy Whitman. I'm going to get to Andy Whitman after this. But Kevin Hart came out and said he's not going to apologize because he wants to do the Oscars. They fired him. And then he went on the apology tour for the next 3 weeks. And people still hate Kevin Hart for it. Yeah. Kevin Hart, who, by all accounts, seems to be one of the nicer people in Hollywood.
Yeah, he seems to be in the
he's a great. By the way, Andy Whitman. Do you want to tell the Andy Whitman story?
No, I think that's an inside joke. That's an inside story.
He's a big fan of pizza.
I love Andy Whitman.
Love Andy Whitman.
Islip's new receiver of taxes.
I really wish I lived in Islip so he could receive my taxes.
But I'm sorry that you're offended, Andy.
I'm sorry you're offended, Andy.
He should have some pizza. Oh man, it's so funny.
Jesus,
what a day!
What a day!
Oh man, so you look at cancel culture, it's out of control. You look at what's going on in the schools, it's out of control. You look at what the left is continuing to push, inflation's out of control. The gas prices are out of control. Foreign policy is out of control. Iran's out of control. The Taliban, he gave the Taliban back. Maybe we should bomb it, or maybe Ben Shapiro should be a real man and take a stand and actually maybe come out in support of Dan Bongino, who's doing everything he can to fight cumulus media with the vaccine mandates. But Shapiro only cares about zeros at the end of his paycheck. He's a grifter.
He's not on cumulus.
Doesn't matter. He needs to come out in support of Dan.
He did.
No, he didn't.
I watch every day.
He doesn't support Dan Bongino.
Yes, he does.
Ben Shapiro supports dropping bombs on the Middle East. That's what he supports.
Right. Had him on his show like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Dan Bongino was that was before the whole fight happened. Bongino's new fight was last week. He went off the air on Cumulus.
Yeah.
Last week. That's not 3 or 4 weeks ago. That's 1 week.
So how
What
much?
are you doing, Smithtown News math?
So what? So someone should be on their show immediately. Oh, he did something. Like no one else is doing anything.
It should. Well, no one else is doing anything.
Everyone's fighting back.
Nobody is saying a damn thing about vaccine mandates at Cumulus Media. Nobody.
Cumulus Media, but they're going against the mandates nationally.
But they're not. They're talking.
What you sue? That's what you do.
Well, Bongino said, "I'm not working." He actually took a stand. He stopped going on the air because of the mandates. And now what he's doing, Bongino, is he's actually creating a fund outside of Cumulus Media that is going to take care of the fired people in Cumulus Media who didn't want to get the vaccine. While people like Shapiro and unfortunately, other conservative hosts, including Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, unfortunately, who are just, okay, Bongino's gone. They're actually going into all these other affiliates and syndicates of the Bongino show and saying, dump him, take us. It's disgusting what's happening, that there are fake conservatives in media, and then there are real conservatives in media, and the real conservatives are outnumbered 10-1. In this listen, it's a shame, but Dan is fighting.
Well, they could just get a new job, right?
They can, absolutely can. They can,
but it's like they're suing in the courts. They're just going about it.
Who's suing in the courts?
Shapiro.
What court is he suing in?
He filed a lawsuit yesterday through Harmeet Dillon's group to sue against the mandates for the 100+ employees. They had to wait for the law to come into effect before they could sue. You can't sue for a law that doesn't yet exist. Yesterday it existed, they sued.
But suing is this is different than what Dan Bongino is doing. Dan Bongino is not just going into the law, into court and letting a lawyer fight their battles. He's fighting it on the front line. All these guys got to do is come out in support of the guy. Haven't heard them mention him once.
Yes, they have.
Haven't find it. Not going to happen. So, yeah. When?
After the show.
When pigs fly.
You want me to go back through 2 hours of daily
you seem radio? You seem so confident that he did this. You should have it. Produce.
Produce. Are you?
Produce.
See, this is what I got to deal with.
Where's the production?
I'm on the show, so I'm not producing it. If I was sitting back there like I was last week. Everybody make sure you like and subscribe to this video. We're hitting the hour mark, right?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
So listen, we are hitting the hour mark. It is 8:00. It is time to once again sign off for the week. But what we're looking at, and we're having a good time. It's November. It's getting cold. It's a fun time to be here on Long Island as we have turned Long Island red for the first time. How long has it been since we've had the majority in the Suffolk County Legislature?
Well, it's been at least 10 years because Rob Calarco has been the presiding officer for a while now. Ballone's been in for about 1,000 years.
Ballone's been
the executive. He's going on his 12th year. He's termed out now. So it's been a while. I couldn't even tell you how long it's been, to be honest with you.
But it's been at least a decade, and so now we have a red Suffolk County Legislature in for the first time in at least 10 years, and we're excited. We're excited about that. We're excited, folks. We're going to be putting out a post. It's time to start attending school board meetings again, making sure that everything's okay going into the holidays, seeing what their plans are for forced vaccinations going into the new year, and of course, when you look at it one more time, when you watch the curriculum, when you keep an eye on your kids' stuff, keep an eye on Brain Pop if you're using that, keep an eye on the trainings. If you're a teacher and you see something funny happening in your school, if you see some shady business happening in your school, reach out, let us know. We really appreciate all the information that we've been sent thus far, and we're going to start going through it again because local elections are over, and now we can start hitting back at the school level again. If you have candidates, if you want to run for school board, reach out. Let's go. We have to start putting people and teams together to get ready to take over the school boards come May. This is the biggest issue now that I'm personally going to be taking on going into the 2022 election cycle, because obviously, as you know, what happened in Loudoun County can happen right here on Long Island. This is something that really matters. The kids are being used as political pawns here, and we have to stop the left and everybody else who are going to use your children as objects and as instruments of of furthering their agenda rather than just educating them and teaching them, how to think and not what to think. So it's a disgusting thing. If you guys are getting ready to run for school board, we're going to post your meetings, when they are, where they are. We're going to put the post up. We want to start attending those meetings again. I can't obviously mention which ones I'm going to because, crazy people show up, although we haven't heard from them in a while. So it's pretty funny because I think they're still ashamed. I have one guy who texts me relentlessly about it, and I haven't heard from him since Tuesday. So it's nice. I think he's a little scared. They're hiding. They're upset that they lost. And hey, what can you do? Losers lose and winners win. That's all we got. So we're getting ready to sign off. It's 8:03. Thank you guys for jumping on today. What do you got?
Guys, just real quick, please do me a favor. If you guys can go into your groups page on Facebook, that's where we get a lot of our traffic from. Just like, follow, subscribe to this channel so you guys never miss an update. We've been getting shadow banned all over the place. And we want to make sure you guys are informed. If you're on YouTube, make sure you click the notification bell, hit subscribe, share it with your friends. If you're on Facebook, go into your groups. We've invited a whole bunch of people. Just accept the invite so you guys get updates when we go live. Our new Instagram handle is Loud Majority on Instagram. We're posting everything that we're doing over there. Twitter, Long Island Loud Majority. Distribution by proxy, like James O'Keefe likes to say. They can't ban us everywhere. So the more places you follow us, the easier it will be to get you the information you need about your upcoming school board meetings, upcoming people running for school board, upcoming Lee Zeldin events. Zeldin's going to have a table down on Sunday. They're going to be right next to us. So if you guys want, come down, meet the team. Please like, subscribe, share this video out. We need your help to get the message out.
That's it. And once again, in the face of the intentional destruction of the United States of America, in face of medical tyranny, in the face of mask mandates, and in the face of communist, Marxist, racist education, what we say are the four words that we continue to echo over and over and over again until the people in power either get it or get the hell out of the way. And those four words are: we will not comply. Thank you so much for listening, ladies and gentlemen. And until Monday at 7 a.m., Monday, everywhere again. Stop complying, ladies and gentlemen, and stay loud. Thank you.